Hello everyone and welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be checking out a 100 amp hour 12 volt battery from LiPuls. So let's open it up and see what we got. Alright, when you first open it up you do get an information package, and inside is the product manual, a join us registration guide, and a service card with all of the performance and product information right here in a nice, easy, viewable package. Then we have the battery and a set of 2 post bolts. All right, so let's go through the specifications of this battery. But right before I do that, I do want to let you know that I did find a second set of terminal bolts. And one is a longer set and one is shorter. The shorter ones are for if you're only going to use this one battery and not connect it to like a battery bank where you only have one connection. And it also gives you the longer ones, so if you have multiple batteries and if you need to stack your wiring, you can use these longer bolts to connect all those together. Alright, I just want to show you an image of this card right here, and it gives you a product overview, charging performance, and discharging performance. So it is really everything that you need, but I'll go through it really quick. This is a 12.8 nominal volt battery. It's 100 amp hours. Capacity at 20 amps. It says that it will run for 300 minutes. That means the energy is 1280 watt hours, and the cells inside are prismatic. The recommended charge current is 20 amps, and the maximum charge current is 100 amps. The recommended charge voltage, you want to charge this thing up all the way to 14.6, and it will shut off if it gets over 15.2 volts. When it comes to the discharge current, you can do a maximum discharge current of 100 amps also. The BMS will cut off if you go over 300 amps, give or take 10 amps. And that will happen, it says it will happen in 31 milliseconds, so basically instantly. And it will also discharge all the way down to 10 volts. The sizes of this battery, it's 8.3 inches tall, it is 6.61 inches deep, and it is 10.23 inches in length. And it weighs in at 27.5 pounds or 12.5 kilograms. As you can see, it is a Group 24, so it will fit in your RV compartments very nicely. When it comes to the look of the battery, there is a label right here on front that has your basic information and contact information. There is nothing on the back or the sides except for a barcode. And on the top is just, again, the product label. I like how these Group 24 batteries have these built-in carrying handles that lay flat. So that way it's nice and easy to carry. And when it comes packaged, it does have these terminal covers, which are nice to have. Alright, so when you first get your battery, the first thing you should do is go ahead and check the voltage at the terminals to make sure that the battery is operational. So let's do that now. Alright, and the battery voltage is 13.18, and that is exactly what it should be when you receive it. It should be between 13.1 volts and 13.2 volts. The next thing you want to do when you receive your battery is go ahead and charge it all the way up to 100%, which is 14.6 volts. So if you have a lithium iron phosphate charger, that is optimal. The next thing after that is if you have the ability to do it, go ahead and do a discharge test. That way you can confirm that you're getting the 100 amp hours that you are purchasing. So I'm going to go ahead and charge this up to 100%, and then I'm going to do a discharge test just to make sure everything is what it should be. Alright, well, the capacity test is done for this LiPuls battery, so let's go ahead and check it out. Alright, you can see down here at the bottom that the capacity was actually 103.87 amp hours, so that's that's almost 4% more than what they were rating it for. And you can see also that the voltage, the voltage stayed at 12.92 from, the first few percentage of this test all the way to like 25%. So like 25% of the battery, it stayed at 12.92 volts, which is awesome. And if you look at like at 5%, it was at 12.938, and at 90%, it's at 12.364. 0.6 volts difference between 5% capacity of discharge and 90% capacity discharge. So that's pretty amazing. All right, so now let's go ahead and go on to the high amperage tests. All right, here we have the high amperage test. So let me go ahead and show you what all I have connected to test this LiPuls battery. Okay, I have the LiPuls battery with an amp clamp right here. And I have my timer. We're going to be using it to time this event. And I have a 5,000 watt Mxmoonfree pure sine wave inverter. And then I have all these things that are going to be powered. I have a 200 watt heater. I have a 1,000 watt Elite Gourmet cooktop. I have a griddler. And I also have the New Wave induction cooktop. First, we're going to go ahead and run this griddler for 5 minutes on high to make sure it can handle it. It should be right around like 110 to 115 amps. And then we'll go ahead and power it up to like 200 amps and just to see kind of what happens, finding out when we're actually going to get to that point where the battery will shut down. So let's begin. Let's turn the inverter on, turn on our amp clamp. And let's go ahead and turn on the griddler, start our timer, and you can see that we're actually pulling right around 110 amps from this battery right now. So I'll come back in about 5 minutes to see how everything's going. All right, well, it's been 5 minutes and almost 20 seconds, and this was the super boring test. I mean, there's nothing about this battery that's even remotely warm. Cabling is all cool to the touch. We've been pulling 108 amps this entire time. So let's go ahead and kick it up another 100 amps and see if this battery can handle it. So I'm going to go ahead and kick on this Elite Gourmet. This is another 1,000 watts. There we go. Now we're up to 212 amps. The time is 5:48. And we'll run this for like a minute, couple minutes, to see if the battery does anything. All right, it has been 7 minutes and 40 seconds, and I actually had to swap out the griddler because it heated up to the point where it was just constant and it turned off. So I switched it with this heat gun here, and you can see that we are actually pulling 209 amps still. And it's been 8 minutes now. So let's go ahead and kick on another 200 watts here. Bringing it up to 200, hopefully 230 or so. 235, 240. They'll probably start lowering a little bit, but 240, it's 8 minutes and 20 seconds. And the battery is still powering it. 230, 235 amps is probably what it'll really stay at. So let's go ahead and kick on another 600 watts by setting this to max here, 600 watts, start. Now we're at 290 amps. The battery is still going. So let's go ahead and kick this up to 900 watts. There it goes. All right. Okay, so it looks like this battery doesn't care anything until you get to 300 amps. You know, it does say that it can do a continuous 100 amps, you know, basically forever. And I want to say that it would stop after a few minutes at 200 amps, but that could possibly be because of the internal temperature is getting too high. Anyway, at 300 amps, this immediately shuts off. So the protections are there. All right, and after looking at the LiPuls manual right here, it does say that the discharge, it can do 200 amps for 3 seconds. Well, not quite. It can do 200 amps just fine. It can't do anything over 300 amps though. After 300 amps, it will immediately shut down. I'm also looking in here for anything that says something about the low temperature charging protection. But I don't see anything in here, so I'm going to go ahead and just test it anyway. I'm going to go ahead and throw it into my H-calorie portable freezer and set that right to around like 28 degrees, 28 to 30 degrees. So that way it's right on that edge of freezing. You know, it should be a little bit below 32 degrees Fahrenheit. And we'll pull it out after 24 hours and see if it charges or not. All right, well, this LiPuls 12v 100ah battery has been sitting in that portable refrigerator for the last, well, 27 hours. And that refrigerator was set at 28 degrees Fahrenheit, which is just a tad bit lower than freezing. I feel that's about as close as I can get without having the chance of it going over 0 degrees Celsius or 32 degrees Fahrenheit. I just want to get it so it's just a little bit under that mark. If this does have low temperature charging protection, which I couldn't find anywhere in the documentation that it says that it does, it shouldn't charge. So what's going to happen is when I connect this negative terminal to the battery, this flashing green light, which means it's on standby right now, it will turn a solid red. That means that it's charging, and it should only do that for like a second or two. And then it will go to a solid green, saying that the battery is telling the charger that it's fully charged. Basically telling it to turn itself off because it doesn't want to be charged. If it lasts longer than a few seconds, that means that this battery does not have cold temperature charging protection. So let's go ahead and try it. Here we go. Okay, it's starting to charge. All right, and that's too long. It should only take a second or two. So I do not believe that this battery is set to have cold temperature charging protection. All right, so what did I think of the LiPuls 12.8 volt 100ah lithium iron phosphate battery? Well, if you're just looking for pure capacity and really no bells or whistles, then this you might want to look at this battery. It's it pulled over capacity. I think it gave like 103 amp hours out of the 100 amp hours that it says it would give. And also it does have some high amperage protections. It can easily do 100 amps continuous, and it actually can do 200 amps continuous, even though the manual said it would only do it for 3 seconds. But when it reaches 300 amps, it does shut off immediately. But if you're in a cold climate and you need something for, cold charging protection, this isn't the battery for you. So thank you so much for watching this video. If you have any questions about the LiPuls battery, please go ahead and leave them in the comments. I'll have a link to this item in my description, just in case you want to look further into it. I've also started an Amazon store. You can find the video there along with all the items I used in this video. So thank you so much and have a great day. Bye-bye.